I'd like to call the Master Plan Implementation Committee to order. LakeCAM is recording the meeting. We want to take roll call first? Is that okay? All right. Rodney Dixon, present.
Patrick Marshall, present.
Rita Garbutt, present.
Joseph Chamberlain, present.
Oh,
Thank you.
wait, he didn't open our meeting yet.
Well, we're not gonna have a master plan.
Oh, we can all do it.
Doing
Okay.
Doing it separate?
No, but,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right, okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So,
but
forgot.
maybe
You just
Concom should open too.
Right, that's
Is
what I
the meeting
meant.
posted for 6?
We do have a meeting posted for 6.
Yeah.
Yes, we
Okay.
do,
Then you would go ahead and open your meeting and.
yeah, Bob,
posted for 6?
yeah,
No, we didn't.
yeah, we did, it's right here.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, you're posted for 6.
It does say?
Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry.
Posted for 6 and 7.
Yeah,
Right, well, how far did we get?
We haven't.
we have,
Yeah,
you
you're
have,
up-
you
you're
have
up
to
there. I
open
heard
the
Joe
meeting.
No,
Yeah,
I
he's
just
on
took,
master
I
plan,
called
Right.
it to order, took, went and took, roll call and turned it over to you, sir.
We're not always disjointed, so.
It's all good.
All right, meeting will come to order. This is a meeting of the Lakeville Conservation Commission, and I'll ask for the roll.
Joseph Chamberlain.
Joshua Faraday.
Nancy Yates,
Bob Bouchard, Chairman.
and we also are being recorded by LakeCAM.
Thank you. So, for my meeting, I'd like to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if we could please rise and face the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. We have 6 items on the agenda this evening. Number 2 is review and possible vote to approve the meeting minutes for November 21st of 2023. Have they had the opportunity to review the meeting minutes? And if so, do we have a motion?
I think I read those that they think they were okay, right?
I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah.
Because we were looking at what was the meeting date, the 16th of the 9th.
Yeah, good. You wanna make the motion?
You did, Joe, or?
You want to,
I moved to approve the meeting minutes of
we have a second?
November 21st.
Someone like to second the motion?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor, aye? Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries
I'm
unanimously.
abstaining where I wasn't there.
Okay, thank you. Item 3, meet with the Conservation Commission to review their priorities and goals on the master plan implementation chart updated on June 20th, 2023. I'd like to turn it over to you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry, I'm still struggling with this.
It's all good.
I'll go first if you want,
Go ahead,
Bob.
yes, please.
Okay, I went over this, right, that you sent, okay? On the first page, under economic development and complementary actions, the Lakeville nursery property on Route 44 hasn't been sold. It's for
Okay.
sale, but it hasn't been
At
sold.
the time when we did this.
Oh, that, when
It-
Bob Palucci bought it, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, and I just
Oh.
asked at the last meeting what
Okay.
was going on with it, so
Okay.
Right.
that's not,
It's for sale again.
okay.
All right, could you do me a favor, and just for situational awareness, under the goal, if you could, not only in addition to the page, but the goal number, when you reference, just so we can follow, and if people at home can follow along and we can follow along.
I don't think I got, oh, yes, okay.
Goal
So-
4-1.
What is it?
It's goal 4-1, under complementary actions.
4-1, yeah.
4-1, okay, I
Okay.
get it.
There you go. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Under development goal, and down on that same line, does open space and recreation, strategy 6.1.1, it doesn't have a goal.
Okay.
What page?
It's the
Pa-
same page, front,
Pa-
first
Page 1,
page.
land use goal 2-1, complementary action, strategy 611.
I've said this many times before that, it says to help identify and protect important areas in Lakeville, which really open space does that. I mean, we're glad to give our opinion, but I don't think that we need a full-time agent. I would say, if anything, it would be nice to have some extra money for a land protection specialist. But, I think we've decided a long time ago that right now we didn't need full-time.
Well, again, Nancy, when this was done,
Okay,
We wanted-
all right, I'm getting it now.
Yeah.
How old is this?
Over 6 months. Right?
2020, right? This is our open,
So 3
Um,
years old?
yeah,
So this,
No, it's
Well-
23.
and it's gonna be redone in 2030.
2030, yeah.
So what we do typically is when we, on the matrix, when we have a goal or a strategy or a complementary action, so this is a living document. So as things change, we're gonna update the matrix. So when this was originally created, back in the day, as things change, we update. So
Right.
if there's a change to that is
So that's-
required,
right,
suggested, then we can modify and update and then repost. So this document is posted on the Lakeville website, and we want to keep it as new and fresh as possible.
Right.
So what we're doing is meeting with the different stakeholders, obviously you guys are stakeholders, and to gain some insight into the matrix as it relates to your committee.
okay.
Okay?
Right, so that's what we're doing
So-
tonight, right?
So I think what we can do in this case
Correct.
is underneath that, because their goal has changed, make a comment about what
Yep.
they would rather do.
Yes.
And what did you call it?
Land protection specialist. I think that would be good for open space too. Cause it's open space job to come up with the list of the priority lands, you know, and we have input into that. But like I say, I think it would be nice to have, somebody that's, even if it's like some money on the side, doesn't have to be like incorporated into a salary.
All right, thank you.
Should be noted that Mark Knox joined.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Knox. Welcome.
Well, sorry for being late.
Do we really want to not have a goal of having a full-time agent? Why can't we just have an additional goal of allocating money for a land use specialist?
We could.
I just don't know why you would get rid of something that could be beneficial to the town.
Well, and this is just my personal feeling, is that we got a lot going on in Lakeville right now with the budget and salaries and everything else, and if we don't need it right now, I mean, maybe in the future, but if we don't right now, the work, a lot of these projects we have right now are huge. We wouldn't even be doing them, we're having consultants that are doing them. So I think, I don't know, Bob can chime in too, but I mean, I don't think he's overloaded with work so much that he can't do it.
No, it's, right now, things are really, on the slow side, so I've got little time on my hands.
That's kind of the nature of our
Right.
commission, is it,
Up and down, right.
it's always up and down. We have next to nothing to do, and then all of a sudden we're buried. And some of the other regulatory boards in town have the same situation.
Yeah, when I started, I think it was like 20 hours, and I don't approach that anymore. But things change,
Yep.
as you know.
Right. Mr. Knox?
So, you know, I think Nancy just started making the point. I think Joe sort of backed it up. We're dealing with the same thing at the planning board. We were confronted with that last night at the select board meeting. It is generally slow. The bigger projects, say 43 Main Street, the hospital property, we're gonna rely on consultants for that. We're, you know, I wouldn't put that on a town employee to do those reviews, be responsible for those things anyway.
Right.
We've all been told the budget's gonna be an issue over the next few years. I don't like where my tax bills went, and I'm not gonna vote for an override.
Yeah.
So I think that us acting fiscally conservative, you know, grassroots here at the boards is a wise thing.
Yeah, thank you. Let's note that Denise Barbuto is here.
So I'll put consider hiring a land protection specialist. And leave the rest the way it is.
Actually, we could almost do that out of the funding we have. Also, but, like I say, even,
But looking forward to doing the next master plan, these will be the things that the different boards are gonna decide, do we still wanna do that? And then you
but I
could.
guess back to my point of a full-time agent, even in the future, it wouldn't hurt to split that job between two professionals, somebody that would do the Wetland Protection Act and somebody that would be in charge of protecting the land. Because, like I said, it's open space's job to identify priority lands. But if we take it under Concom, then we should have some kind of a land protection specialist to watch it.
Okay.
So I don't know if that would be two goals or one goal or how that would be. But it's not always the wetland protection person has that same experience as like somebody like Scott McFadden from Wildlands Trust, who we deal with a lot, who's a land protection specialist.
I
So
don't think
it'd be
somebody-
kinda nice to have those
Somebody
two.
like that shouldn't be on the town's payroll. I think that should be consult.
Okay, no, that too. And I guess then, what Rita said about,
Yeah, revisit it for the next master plan. I'm not.
Yeah.
right,
And I think
Yeah.
Rodney, I came in representing the planning board, we had this
Yeah.
similar conversation that, I think, Rita, you agreed, we're not gonna finish everything that's in there.
No,
It's a template to try and achieve 70%. And some of them, along the way, you realize maybe it's just a bad fit. Some of them, it's just not achievable. They were put in there as SERP type of goals that we won't wanna do. And, so it's not that we have to do them all.
right.
And as we revisit it in the 10-year span that, we're gonna start to build the 2040 master plan.
So it's aspirational goals. And this document was created with input from the residents of Lakeville through multiple workshops and feedback. So again, thank you for that. I appreciate that. So as an aspirational goal, again, it's gonna fluctuate. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. Okay, moving forward.
oh my God, I'm just gonna finish what I had and then we can go on to the next person maybe, so I'm on 1, 2, 3, 4. My pages are cut off on the bottom.
Yeah, it depends upon which copies you got, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's 6, 1, 2,
yeah, I think I
3,
start
4, 5,
marking stuff
page
up.
6 is the same thing as under there, 6, open space and recreation, 6.1.1, the same thing is under there. Then on page 7. And, I don't know, maybe Mark can talk to this, but I can't remember exactly what we came up with as a committee about the OSRD.
So I can speak to that if you want me to.
Well, I just kind of feeling that right now, like, when this went on here, I don't think we're looking at how many 100 units at the Lakeville Hospital, how many 100 units on Freetown Street. I'm just saying, we're getting a lot of, development like that where, I don't wanna call it cluster zoning, but I guess that's kind of what it is,
What it
but
is,
that's,
yeah.
we're already getting a lot of that, so is this still pertinent, OSRD? You
With-
know, did you go to the Lakeville Hospital thing to see how they're setting up, like, that same kind of thing with a lot, like the little cottages all together and then the land with park or, open space that they all share? And Freetown Street, that's just the beginning, as far as I can see.
There's a lot
Of what's
acreage-
gonna happen
A lot of
there.
acreage there, yeah.
And that's what, 200 units to start?
But it's not going yet, though.
No, it's not.
So, to answer your question,
but- Yep,
the planning board is going back at and trying to revise what was done but not put forth at town meeting to make it crafted to more suit Lakeville. So we think that this coming spring town meeting, annual town meeting, we will be back with a version that will be worthy of support. And at that time, I think the developer on Freetown Street would be amenable to considering that, because 40Bs probably aren't financially that feasible right now with the cost of goods and interest rates.
Water,
And
isn't,
again,
said I was gonna get
water
water
was a
yet,
big factor there too, because he's gotta come a mile up,
right,
County Road from Freetown,
yep,
get an allocation from them, New Bedford, or public water supply well, which is a constant fee, because the monitoring is very expensive. So, again, I mean, I'm not trying to sound cavalier, but I don't know that that one will get developed as a 40B if the town gets
Gave 'em an
together and gets
alternative?
behind an OSRD that's more suitable, more protections. We're trying to, that site specific, put some more archaeological protections in what we bring forth. Cause we know there's a lot of sacred Indian,
ground,
worship sites and whatever,
Yep.
altars and probably burial grounds.
King Philip's jail,
So we wanted to protect those, but not just that site specific, other sites within town that could get developed. It's not gonna change the hospital property. That's a density thing there, whereas the other one is not so much a density. Mohammed develops more of like the single family home style, so he would do better, I think, with the OSRD than a 40B. So that one might give.
You have a
protection.
question with regard, you hit on the archaeological, component. With those restrictions, if I understand what you're saying, is that there'd be components of the land that would be restricted and not developed, not as opposed to the whole, was it 300 acres or
So with the
however many hundreds of
OSRD,
acres?
by its nature, if that's 300 acres, automatically 150 won't be developed, automatically.
And now
But,
the remaining 150, does that also include the archaeological component?
so, to use it as an example, with the existing stuff that we had to bring to town meeting that we walked back, wetlands. So wetlands doesn't count. So, if there were 300 acres, but 50 of it was wetland, he's really only gonna come forward to us with 250.
Got it.
Because wetlands doesn't count. So now we're protecting half of 250, and he can only develop the other 125. And the wetlands isn't part of his buildable percentage. So I translate that now, if we put similar language towards what would be archaeological sites of value, take them out of the equation. So we'd try to protect those so they wouldn't be part of the developed equation, so that, you know, it may narrow down what he's gonna do a little bit, but it would protect those spots, similar to how we protected the wetlands or taking them out of the developable land equation.
All right, and that's up to Lakeville. Is there any federal or state requirements with the archaeological protection? Like, is it like officially that they
I know
come?
the
you know-
Wampanoag tribe has spoken to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and when they, this goes way back to the train station.
Yep.
That's gonna cost a lot of money, cause that was 60,000 alone just for that small area at the train station. What, is that
60,000
20
for what?
archaeological dig?
Okay.
And when we did the senior center, we did the library,
So if there's
it
an
takes a long
archaeological.
time too,
So if there's an archaeological dig that commences and then they find positive results of the Wampanoag sites, then that means those are straight up can't be developed, correct?
Well, so
Not necessarily.
it's either that or they're gonna take the artifacts out to protect them in a museum type setting.
Right,
Okay,
right.
But yeah, so maybe if there are stone altars and things carved into rock, maybe those areas would be fully protected, because you're not gonna blast to get ledge out. It's part of that history.
right.
But again, I think to Rita's point, if there's a burial ground, you found a little, lack of a better term, a dumping site where they found many artifacts, pots or jewelry or whatever.
Mhm.
That stuff would be able to be removed, not just developer come in with an excavator, put a septic system there.
Right, yeah, be
Dig,
done
use it for the
professionally
backfill.
and, okay.
it's expensive over the top. Just as an
Yeah.
example, on the other side of Assawamsett, near the Wampanoag site, they're just redoing a house and they are going through, they have to have somebody on site, every shovel full of dirt that
Yeah.
comes out of the ground.
Wow.
They
Who
sift
pays-
it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, who
What is
who
the
pays for
name of the
that now?
group?
Pay for it, or does
Oh,
the
the developer
developer
pays
pay
for it,
Oh,
okay.
The
he wants
developer.
to develop the
PAL,
site and-
Providence Archaeology Lab,
No.
is that what you're looking?
No, I'm trying to think at the library, the name, PAL?
PAL,
PAL,
Providence
Oh,
Archaeology Lab.
okay.
Thank you.
And we have a lot of those sites because the Indians worked near water all the time, so anytime you start doing something in a place called Lakeville,
Yeah,
the
That's the
Indian
name.
name pops up again.
right, okay. Thank you.
Okay, on that same, I think that's it for me, except on that same page, it's just a typo, like, second, in the green,
Page-
second one, under strategies in the green, OPC, unless that's something I don't know what it means. So that's supposed to be
Yeah.
OSC?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you for,
No one caught that.
yeah,
I'm like,
It-
is that something I haven't heard of?
where's the error? It's open space committee.
First
so
bar.
strategy 6.2, I'm sorry, strategy, it's unmarked, but goal number, open space and recreation goals 6-2 on page 7.
Second
Column
row
in the
down.
green, second word in each, it read ORC versus OSC.
Okay, gotcha.
OPC.
Okay.
I mean, OPC, excuse me, thank
And
you.
I don't know if it's been up, I know they've been working on it for years, so I still don't know if the open space plan is complete. Do you, Larry?
Last I heard, it was being finished up by the open space committee. There had been talk about getting some hours from Serpent, but last I heard, they felt they didn't need it and they were just about done.
Okay.
But beyond that, I don't know. That was like a month ago.
All right, thank you.
And I like the one on top of that, in the strategy, the first one, about rekindle, that's, seeing as I'm saying the, not negative things, but comment on other things, that is huge.
6.1.3.
Yep. Yeah, Wildlands Trust is 50 years old, and instead of us trying to come up with our own organization that's not sustainable, it's, the town of Lakeville has worked for years with Wildlands Trust, and they're really good, and right now they're looking at places in Lakeville, and they're willing to become involved, help us. They're helping us right now with a property with, CPA, so.
Okay. All right, any other additional
I'm good.
comments, observations?
I didn't go too crazy, I just
No,
kinda,
we appreciate it. I mean, that was the purpose of the meeting to, you know, to kind of ferret out where you're at and where we're going, how we're gonna get there. In regards to the master plan, when, and we talked to Mr. Knox earlier, with regards to your meetings and what you do, is the master plan, like in the back of your head at least, when you're meeting and doing what you do as a commission?
well, I'd say our job is to enforce the Wetland Protection Act. And that includes like trying to save pieces of land that are gonna impact the wetlands, because as it is, a lot of the high dry land's already gone in Lakeville, so that's why we've never been able to pass a wetland bylaw, is because probably 85% of everyone would be affected by it,
Yeah.
because you either live near the water or near a wetland. So we've never been able to
Right.
do that, and I don't wonder if that is kind of a goal is to, pass, even if it's a small, simple thing, is a wetland bylaw. That gives us some teeth.
Better to
We
start
tried a
small
couple of
and work our
times.
way up.
Pardon?
We tried at town
Yeah,
meeting.
twice.
Yeah.
It
So,
was like,
I mean,
there's
very,
always somebody.
very briefly at our commission meetings, we have been talking about establishing a bylaw and bringing it to town meeting. Do you think that should be added to the master plan? Or should we continue to do it?
And your thought was that simply we would use the wording of the current state law, right?
Well, no, that was our building inspector's, suggestion to us.
Okay.
That if
all
we
right.
just like ratify state law somehow at town meeting, then he he can't hold up a building permit right now. They're gonna be right next to the wetland and he can't hold it up to tell them they have to come to Concom. So
Right.
even if we can just get past that threshold of, you know, that, to give him the power to say, no, I'm not giving you this building permit until you go to Concom and get your order of conditions, or,
Would that be a strategy? What was just mentioned?
To me, it would be a goal, wouldn't it?
Right,
to-
versus a strategy, I think would be a
Yeah.
goal,
I
but
think it'd be a goal, yeah.
yeah, we can absolutely incorporate that.
So what,
Could you just repeat so we can take that?
under what section
Um,
would we do it?
It would be under,
There's one here that talks about protection.
right, if we can piggyback on that or dovetail it.
6.3, is that what you're talking about?
Would that be also, can we go back to page,
Natural
I think it's
resources.
page 5 under natural cultural resources. One of them is update Lakeville's priority protection areas, which I know is
Yeah, I was trying to,
open space, but that's sort of a similar,
right,
I would say that's similar. You could probably piggyback it there.
that's resources goal 5.1.
So what do you want me to? Under complementary actions, maybe put, consider
And consider implementing
yeah,
state law,
wetlands protection.
Adopting
adopting.
a
that sounds-
wetlands protection bylaw, mirroring DEP's language.
thank you. Under natural and cultural resources, goal 5-4 on page, let's call it 6. Under strategy 5-4-2, in green, support efforts to investigate the possible merging of the town's historical commission and historical society. Does any of that, like, we go back to the archaeological, does that component of the land, does that have any reference to that resource at all, or?
I'm sorry, what
I'm not, it might be totally irrelevant
Page
to,
6.
to this meeting, this conversation, but, about the natural and cultural resources strategy.
Green mark.
Yeah,
When we've talked about before about working in silos, as your commission works, I know we all work in our silos. If there's items, I'm sorry, I apologize for that.
no, no problem.
It just triggered a thought about when we're working in the different committees or commissions, and there might be relations to other committees or commissions, master plan. When you're doing what you're doing, are you aware that there might be other people, not other people, but other committees affected positively with the work that you're doing? I ask that because when we meet with the different commissions and committees, asking that the master plan be in their back of their head, if you were, what we did, just to bring you up to speed, when we reconvened this, the MPIC, we found that even though we hadn't met officially and really kept track for, I don't know how many years it was quite a few years. We found out once we did a deep dive, once we reconvened, that a lot of what was on here was actually accomplished through a lot of, it just happened. We updated it, was like, wow, these are, items have been accomplished without really, keeping an eye on them. So what I'm asking is, with regards to the plan and commissions, if we could keep an eye on it, or at least in the back of your head, if we could somehow get the information so we don't have to look for it, if we could have your commission, you know, either through a formal letter from us, or at least maybe we can meet with you more frequently to get updates. Because right now, I think, we started, and I apologize for being all over the place, but we started the meeting with others, that have a stake in the master plan. And our kind of goal is to, instead of keep going, help me here, Rita, I'm struggling, but, reaching out is to get us, flow of information, I guess. I'm losing here, I don't know why I'm using.
Oh, when you talked to me, we had said, we'll try to shoot you an email after like 3
Yeah,
months or
shoot you an
so.
email, a summary email, like what.
Little
just-
update. If
Yeah, an
we're working
update
on
summary
something-
email or something like that. Is that something that you
Oh,
guys
so
could?
you could like update your
Yeah.
plan, so say we
Yep.
come forth with something to go to town meeting, or that we start working on a wetland.
Yeah, if you could. I mean, is that something that I don't wanna, if it's a big ask, then let me know, but if it's not, then I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, I don't think
Um,
that's a big ask.
Yeah, if it could be.
I think all the regulatory boards are always questioning, are other boards going to be interested in this action one way or another?
Yeah,
I think it's just routine. I mean, I see it on ZBA, I see it on planning board, I see it with us all the time. Okay, how's this gonna play with this group? Have they signed in? Do we hear anything from them? Do we have a letter from them, any concerns? This is sort of routine questioning, because we know that any particular project, however small, medium, or large, is going to, rattle somebody's ice bowl, right? You know?
right.
It depends where it's happening and who's within sight or sound of it, and that sort of thing,
Right.
In a way, it's at an advantage to being right next door to the Board of Health. You've got a question, you've got a problem, you just elbow the guy next to you and
Those
get a
three
response.
working together in that building are fantastic, fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Been a long way
Yeah.
around the question, I apologize.
Okay.
It's been a long day.
I'd just like to update the Concom. When we met with Mark for the planning board's goals on page 2, second column down, the strategy, 2.-3-3, investigative transfer development rights. Nancy, I don't know if you remember when
Right, we've been
we're
thinking
just not
about
even
that.
gonna pursue that. It just doesn't make sense, to try to say, work with New Bedford, transfer somebody's development rights here in Lakeville to a business area, zoned area in New Bedford. It's transferring the development rights to
Rights
another
to- right.
community, and I don't know of any communities that have done it. So I was just gonna go back and type on that. The planning board's not gonna pursue that one.
I don't know, if you're talking about New Bedford
No,
and
I
they
know,
wanna
we're not gonna
protect.
pursue it.
Oh.
We
No,
talked about it.
okay. I'm just saying, New Bedford wants to protect their drinking water, maybe they would consider something like that.
One of the things I've been saying for 45 or 50 years, that these towns that take our water, consider it our water, should be paying us something to take good care of it.
Agreed.
I don't, have you really looked into, nobody's done it?
Not that I know of.
Okay, but I
But
mean,
we're just gonna put, at least until this is
Right.
done, again, maybe when the next group wants to update the master plan, maybe they
just
will.
because it's not there, doesn't mean if something comes up, that you can't look into it.
It's gonna stay on here,
Oh, okay,
but the planning board's not gonna pursue it at this time.
okay.
Yeah, it can
But if
stay
an
in there.
opportunity came up,
It can stay in there, and then if
Right.
it does,
Okay.
but we are not going to pursue it
Practically.
actively with no
Okay.
reason,
right,
no partner.
I get it.
Would be either grasping at Taunton or New Bedford just because of the water, and don't know if they're, and I think that puts us in a bad negotiation position if we're asking to do something that maybe they didn't want to do. We're giving it away, we're probably negotiating at a disadvantage. Outside of that, if it stays in, if something else comes up, that's great, but I just don't think we want to pursue it because it was in the master plan
Okay.
without a deal on the table.
All right, okay,
Right.
I agree. I just do think that water becomes more and more and more important all the time. And Taunton and New Bedford now hold that responsibility of protecting the water, so. But it has not come up in a long, Rita's right, it hasn't come
I
up.
get a question,
It was a
I'm
big
not-
thing in the past, but.
Yeah.
I get a question, I'm not sure who has the answer to this. Transfer of development rights, how connected is that to Agricultural Preservation Protection Act that the state has, that we have property in this town? That the state has essentially bought the development rights or paid the landowner for the development rights? How connected is that act, that law to this proposal?
Well, those are in perpetuity, as
Those
far
are
as, our
in-
APRs are in perpetuity,
Right,
so you wouldn't,
but it
Yeah,
wasn't
I think
really
it's
a-
separate from,
It's
transfer.
not really a transfer of development
No.
rights.
they're buying,
They're
They bought it
buying,
outright.
they're buying them outright so as not to be,
Right.
not to use them on that land. Okay, so it's two, the end result is the same thing, the property stays the same, only it's done in a different way.
well, it would, yeah, it would stay the same because we, for example, had to do that with Ted Williams Camp when we put it in the police station, right? We had to, it was another form of a TDR, is that we had to protect 10 acres of land somewhere else. Might have even been 2 10-acre pieces that when we put the police station in and we impacted,
Turtle habitat,
yeah, we had to put a protection on 10 acres of land somewhere else. I looked it up recently, I can't remember where it was, but it was, where?
Over off of Aswan's on, a Bartlett property,
Bartlett property,
or,
donated the property to the
oh,
town,
yeah,
right?
yeah. By the
what's the
train
name of that
tracks,
street there off the end of Forest Park?
It would
Okay,
be like that, but it would be another
Dean
town.
Shores, something like that? Yeah, if you go,
Not Dean, but it's something.
something
close.
like that down there, yeah, yeah.
So it was sort of a landlocked piece between there and Staple Shores Road.
But the idea
Keene
was,
Shores,
That's
Keene
it.
Shores,
yeah,
you
that's it.
protected land
Keene.
somewhere else.
yeah, yeah.
It's almost like a wetland replication is what happened there.
Instantaneously.
Yeah.
And Rodney, I
Yes.
just wanted to mention right after, on that page 2, right beneath the transfer development rights, the open space residential bylaw, I had on there, it was gonna be presented May of 2023. I'm gonna change that now to June of 24.
Okay,
Okay, where are you now? Page 2,
Page 2,
Which-
second
Okay,
strategy
yeah.
down,
oh, second strategy down,
2
okay.
dash 2
Okay,
dash
got
4.
it, yep.
And what's the date?
June, I don't know the exact date, but town meeting's.
town
June
meeting for
10th?
June
Is it June
2024.
10th?
June 10th?
Is the second Monday in June?
I think it is, Ari, right? The second Monday in June?
Yeah.
I just put June of
Yeah.
2024.
Correct, June
That's the
10th.
article.
It would be the 10th, yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other updates, comments, concerns? Okay, well, thank you so much for taking your time out. We know you're busy and your time is valuable, so thank you very much for joining us this evening. Okay, item 4, discuss meeting with another board, committee, or commission.
Now, who have we met with previously?
Just planning.
Just planning,
Just planning
and
board.
then this evening with Conservation
And
Commission.
then we ought to go, Nancy, who should we go with next, do you think?
So you've met with planning, conservation, well, you got a lot of historical stuff in here.
Yep.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we had met with them years ago.
Should we have them in next then?
Okay.
So, any discussion on that?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Logical would be open space
Also,
also. All the people that were,
Well, yeah, all the stakeholders,
all
so
the stakeholders.
just trying to determine the order.
Because Historical Commission's been working on a lot of, their historic district.
They got a lot of things
The
going right
historic
now.
Yeah.
right?
preservation
They just got money
plan,
for the
yeah.
cemetery and for the roof of the town hall.
And we had talked about, it's, complicated, but the historical society and combining the two, but it is a complicated.
It is?
Yes,
Okay,
and I don't know if they've looked into it anymore. We talked about it a couple of years ago,
Right, I remember
but they
that.
really don't have fun, you know, it's private donations. But.
well, that was a
anyways.
huge thing that they got the Mass Historical Grant, those are not easy to get.
Mhm.
Kudos to the grant writer. That's great. Okay. So we want to make a decision on all the, or we just,
Just,
we want to do
I'll
historical?
contact Historic and see if they can.
Okay, and then the
whatever
next
we-
one would be open space.
Yeah, I think open space, if they're closing in on the end of their plan, it would be good for,
Right.
let them finish the plan and
Correct.
then we know
Yep.
what they've got.
Okay, thank you. All right. Item 5, schedule the next meeting.
The second Tuesday would be February 13th,
Okay,
and I'll see if Historic, if that works for them.
February 13th, okay.
At 6 o'clock here.
Do you want to keep at 6 or do we want to move it back to 6:30? What, any opinion? Is it 6 okay for everyone still? Okay, all right. Very good. Okay. And if you can get here, then great. If not, then find someplace else to meet.
Did we decide, Rodney, that we're looking at doing the monthly, or were we skipping a month, or?
Well, I know that we took a month off for the holidays.
Yeah,
If
well, I know we had the discussion last fall as far as if we needed to meet
to meet monthly.
monthly or not.
I think the consensus was we did not, if my memory serves. We can do it every other month,
Yeah.
so. Mr. Chamberlain, any
So you wanna
Feel
skip
exactly the same.
February?
opinion?
We're not racing along, slow but steady, wins the race.
Do you wanna skip February then?
Denise, you wanna, every other month? Any opinion on that?
Well, I'm just thinking when we're meeting with the other committees, if it might be a good idea where we miss because of the holidays. February might be good, and then we can do every other month from there. But that's my opinion.
Discussion?
If we meet each month, we can more or less promise the group that's coming to meet with us a short, speedy meeting
Truth.
and tell them it's.
And this isn't abnormal for me to have a greater than 20-something minute meeting, so.
Exactly. We'll say, Rodney is running the meeting, you
Yeah.
won't be here long.
Be efficient, with apologies to those who are expecting a short meeting, so, okay. So do we want to do at least the monthly meeting and meet with the different committee and then go after that?
I
Then-
think it's easier to make the reservation for the room, and if necessary, send out.
And skip
a note
the month of June when
and
we have
skip,
town meeting,
you know,
Right.
yeah.
you know?
I agree,
'Cause it's been a while since we've met with some of these.
correct,
Right,
okay. Yeah. So back to February and
back to February 13th,
13th,
the day
okay,
before Valentine's Day. And
okay.
if anyone's interested, the Valentine's Day stuff is already in the stores.
Wait,
Look, it
was the day
started,
after
it
Christmas.
started the day after Christmas,
Yeah.
along with the Easter stuff.
No, it was up
Thank
before
St. Patrick's.
Christmas, 'cause I was amazed.
All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Oh, I was just gonna ask about,
Or actually, no, is there any,
Any
with
other?
apologies, is there any other business that may properly come before the meeting, so I
I
rescind
didn't
the.
know if
Sorry,
anybody
to try to get you early.
saw the presentation of the Lakeville Hospital property, what they're proposing there now.
Oh, no, I haven't.
Yep,
What was that?
If they had seen the presentation of what was
At the
proposed.
library?
And it is online, I
Is
looked at it
okay?
online, I
Wonderful.
couldn't
Yeah,
make it that
I
night.
attended, I thought it was well presented, a lot of questions that were answered, and being transparent. They, I think, did a lot of work on that presentation.
It's over 55, right? Is it,
Not all
is
of
that,
it. Not all of it.
Not all of it,
Not
is
all.
a
not all of it?
Combination of
No.
40B and age restricted.
Yeah,
and
portion of it.
assisted living. Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, I think they did
Independent
it.
living and assisted, right?
Yeah,
So whether you're for or against it, I think they did a good job at presenting, the plan to the town, so. And as a former nursing home administrator, and current healthcare administrator, the Wingate component is something that I think is desperately needed in the area.
Mhm.
Whether it's part of this plan or not, and Wingate's got a really good reputation, as a high-quality provider, so. But that's just, you know, my opinion. I think, as our population ages and we need those services, I think it'd be great to have it in Lakeville somewhere. Since we lost the one down, you
Do
know,
they-
Island
Do they
Terrace,
need a
unfortunately.
revision to the bylaw to do the two big buildings?
I don't believe so.
You don't, okay. That falls under what's already zoned there?
Everything I think they're doing there is by right.
it's all by
Okay.
right. Yeah,
They'll just have to go to the ZBA for the 40B.
How many units on the 40B?
I don't
200?
recall.
it's 200, I think.
200.
It's altogether like 400 units altogether with everything? Yeah, 400 and change.
Yeah, it's quite a bit.
But also they're rentals, right? The 200 units and the two big
Correct.
buildings are rentals, so that will
Yeah.
help us towards our affordable number.
They counts 100%.
Yeah. But there's no-
When they're rental.
Yeah, there's no commercial or retail at all.
Well, before we end, I just wanna personally thank Ari for his tenure here in Lakeville, and I wish him the best of luck in your future endeavors, so
Thank
thank
you.
you, and it was a
Appreciate it.
pleasure to work with you and have you on this committee, so I thank you, and, what you've done here, and I do wish you the best of luck in your next, chapter.
Appreciate it. It's been good to work with all of you.
Welcome, thank you. Now, do we have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, second, all in favor, aye, aye. All right, thank you so much.
Us too.
Do we have a motion to
adjourn.
adjourn? Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.